5 seconds remaining.
Alright, welcome everyone to another night of Saturday Dota League. Feels like it's been forever since I've cast some Dota. It's been a while. I miss you guys. But we're back. We're ready to cast some Dota. Of course, we were casting this league last Saturday, and we'll be casting
10
every Saturday
remaining.
from now on for the Saturday Dota League. But we're in the second week of the Saturday Dota League, and we're in the group stages. There's going to be 3 weeks of group stages. We've got 2 groups of 4 teams each. This is going to be from our second of those 2 groups. Last week we casted the first group. But we have an interesting match here between, it's not Mom's the Stripper. It's not their team name, it's Boreal eSports. And they're going to be going up against ASDF. And of course we saw Boreal eSports recently in our casting of the Dota 2 Canada Cup. And frankly, I'm a little disappointed and maybe a little surprised to not see Boreal eSports on the invites for the International 5 qualifiers. I'm still shocked by the fact that they're not on that list, but I guess they'll have to battle through the open bracket to get there. But they're going to be going up against a team that we've cast before on this channel, but it's a long time ago. Team ASDF. We cast them a few times in the Semi-Pro Cup Series. So they're going to be going up against Boreal tonight. But neither of these teams won a game in their first week of the Saturday Dota League. No Brood Mama, which of course we've seen before. We've seen all the teams in this group on this channel before. But No Brood Mama won 2-0 over Boreal eSports. And the Business Gaming, which if we think back to when we were casting the CEVO playoffs, we saw the Business Gaming go up against Team Midnight. And anyways, the Business Gaming won 2-0 over ASDF. So neither of these teams have a win yet in the Saturday Dota League. So obviously that's going to change. At least one of them is going to get a win. Maybe both. Maybe they'll split the series. It is going to be a best of 2. Of course, one team has choice going into the first game, and then the second game, the other team has choice. So we may see the same team on Dire's side. We may see the same team picking first, whatever. It's all choice. It's not an immediate flip of what we had in the first game. But some more information about the Saturday Dota League. First of all, head on over to SaturdayDotaLeague.com where you can find out more about the tournament. And the other thing that you can do is you can hop in-game and go to the tournament lists, and you can watch the Saturday Dota League through the ticket completely free. You don't have to buy the ticket. You don't have to do anything like that. So it's completely free. So you can go and you can watch the replays. You can watch it live through Dota TV. Whenever you want, you can go and access it. That's really awesome that Saturday Dota League has set that up for us. But let's hop into the game and try and figure out what's going on here. As we've got Boreal eSports and apparently my cat whining. We've got Boreal eSports. They've banned out the Visage and the Leshrac immediately, which Leshrac, I'm unsure about the Leshrac ban so far. Some teams seem to really value Lesh, and they're really scared of Lesh. Other teams, they're not scared of it at all. Visage is one of those heroes that basically rose out of nowhere with 6.84, and now it's immediately a first ban material kind of hero. Same with Undying, which we see ASDF banned out as well. Storm Spirit, he's been relevant for the last couple patches, and he's still relevant in 6.84, so he got banned out. And Boreal picked up Queen of Pain and Lina, so going with a little bit more 6.83. But then ASDF definitely going with kind of the new patch stuff with the Crystal Maiden and the Ogre Magi. Most likely that's going to be their support duo. Now we've got our second round of bans, Shadow Fiend and Zeus banned out by Boreal. And now Night Stalker, and we await the 4th ban from ASDF. But right now, so far we've got, like I said, the 2 supports, or at least what looks like the 2 supports for ASDF. Remaining. Of course, the Ogre Magi could be played in kind of your off lane kind of position, but I don't think we're going to see that. As for Boreal, we've got the Queen of Pain, which most of the time is played in the mid lane. We do see a little bit of flexibility with her. Sometimes she's thrown in the off lane. Sometimes she's even thrown in the safe lane. Lina primarily played as a support, but occasionally we'll see her in the mid lane. I think if we had to pick between those 2 heroes, we'd probably put the Queen of Pain in the mid lane, though, because it basically creates a more versatile situation for your lineup at this point in the draft.
Dire team pick.
Last ban was a Brood Mama getting banned out by ASDF, and then they picked up the
Radiant
Nyx
team
Assassin,
pick.
so banning out one bug, picking up another, as that looks like it's probably going to be their offlaner. But they do have a little bit of leeway there. Like I said, the Ogre could be in the off lane, and the Nyx could be a support, or vice versa. Most likely we will see the Nyx in the off lane. And Boreal picked up the Vengeful Spirit, so it looks like that's going to be their second support. And now we've got an Alchemist. This is the first 6.84 Alchemist I've seen. I've played him a few times, but this is the first one I've seen in competitive, so I'm excited to see him throw around some Aghanim Scepter at different people. It'll be fun. We'll look and see how they choose to run him. As
Radiant
I'm
team
unsure
ban.
where he's really going to find his spot right now in the meta, because of course, with Grievil's Greed giving you 4 times as much gold for picking up a bounty rune, that almost makes you want to put him back to the mid lane as he was running the
10
mid for a while,
seconds remaining.
because then he'll have access to those runes rather than putting him safe lane and farming up there.
5
Of
seconds
course, you can
remaining.
secure the farm easier when he's in the safe lane, so it's kind of a catch-22 there. Be interesting to see how ASDF chooses to run him. A couple games I played him, I did run him in the safe lane, but obviously the potential is there for a mid Alchemist. And Boreal
Dire
picked up the
team
Tusk.
ban.
This has been something they've been experimenting with quite a bit, as they ran it in our first week up against no Brood Mama. And I've seen them run it a few different times, as Jeppin seems to really like playing that Tusk. Last 2 bans, we're going to be the
Radiant team
Gyrocopter
pick.
getting banned out by ASDF. A hero that I absolutely love, and it's great to see him. It's great to see him back in the meta, but he will get banned out this game. And Viper, a hero that almost always seems relevant, but is almost always a little bit boring to watch. Definitely boring to play. But we won't see it this game, so it's going to get removed.
10 seconds remaining.
Now, the final pick here for ASDF. Like I
5
said, they're
seconds
most
remaining.
likely have got their support duos and their offlaner, and I'm guessing that's going to be a mid alchemist or a safe lane
Reserve
alchemist.
time.
So they're going to be looking to pick up their mid laner here, which is going to be going up against a Queen of Pain, because Boreal's looking like they're running a Queen of Pain mid, Tusk offlane, Lina Venge, and then a safe laner. But now they're going to pick up a TA, so they could safe lane the TA. That's a very real possibility. Or they could put the Queen of Pain in the safe lane and put the TA in the mid lane. I think it most likely will be Queen of Pain in the mid lane because, well, now they see they're going up against a Tinker. But we're going to see quite a bit of aggression coming out from Boreal eSports here. A lot more of a passive game coming out for ASDF. Of course, their support duos and their offlaner, they're going to really look to be active. But the Tinker's going to draw out the game. He's going to farm as long as he can. Alchemist, kind of the same, not really drawing out the game, but he likes to sit back and farm, although he comes online very, very quickly. That's one of the things about Alchemist. He's got that accelerated farm, so he can reach that 6-slotted
10
potential
seconds remaining.
very, very quickly. And he does so before the other carries,
5
the other
seconds
strong
remaining.
late game carries are going to get there. The downside is that he doesn't actually scale as well as some of those other late game carries. But here we are, we're hopping on into it. As I'll just switch on over to my overlays here.
Prepare for battle.
As we've got our first game of the night. Just a reminder that it is a best of 2 for the Saturday Dota League. And it's going to be between ASDF, which is going to be on our Radiant side. Playing their Alchemist is going to be YOLO Swag Rico. God's Hand is going to be playing the Nyx Assassin. A Santa at NASA, excuse me, is going to be playing the Ogre Magi. Abe, who's going to be our stand-in, is going to be playing the Crystal Maiden. And Eleanor is going to be playing the Tinker in the mid lane. For our Dire side, it's going to be Boreal eSports, which, like I said, surprised to not see them in the TI qualifiers. But they've definitely got to prove themselves. I guess in the coming weeks, as well, they're going to have to work their way
30
through the
seconds to
open
battle.
bracket to get there. But they've had a really good showing in the Canada Cup, but of course they haven't won a game yet in Saturday Dota League. So we'll look to see if they're going to be able to get it done. But playing their Lina is going to be PQ, who has been playing phenomenally lately. So has Jeppin, who's going to be playing the Tusk. One of the stand-ins playing the Vengeful Spirit, some kind of symbol, not sure how to pronounce that one. But it looks like they are going to find God's Hand here at the bottom rune. Stun him up a little bit. He has picked up Spike Carapace first. Now he's going to get hit with the Light Strike Array, and looks like this is going to be our first blood. Snowball is going to get the kill, so it's going to go to Jeppins as we finish going over our last couple heroes here. Kikoni is going to be playing the Templar Assassin, and then all the way up in the top lane is going to be KVH on the Queen of Pain. And it looks like it could potentially be an aggressive tri-lane here coming out from Boreal eSports, as maybe they're dodging the aggressive tri-lane coming out from ASDF, as we see they've gone for one as well. But we've got these two supports for Boreal preparing to go for a gank in the mid lane onto the Tinker, who is playing quite safe here, and now he'll spot out the two supports, which will stun him up. First it's the Magic Missile, then the Light Strike Array, but they don't have any support from their Templar Assassin. It's just too far away. But Yolo Swag Rico lost a lot of HP there, burning through one of his two tangos, and of course they're both shared, so he can't use this other one for another 50 seconds. We'll just quickly go over the lane. So it is going to be Queen of Pain in the top, going up against this aggressive tri-lane of Alchemist, Crystal Maiden, and Ogre Magi. Mid lane, it is the Templar Assassin going up against the Tinker, as we see the bottle getting delivered here to the TA. And in the bottom lane, it's going to be not really an off-lane Tusk, because they are going to have an aggressive tri-lane here with the Lina and the Vengeful Spirit going up against the Nyx Assassin. But I'm pretty sure this Tusk is kind of going to be left alone here for quite a while, as both supports are going to be roaming around and looking for more action on the map. Throw out the Ice Shards there, but not able to trap the Nyx Assassin long enough to allow the supports to get in range. So far, that little gank potential and burning through a little bit of the HP on the Tinker has allowed the TA to get off to an early start. She's leading the way at 10 and 5 CS right now, as the Tinker is struggling quite a bit, just at 2 and 0. And here come the supports once again as they're making another rotation towards the mid lane. They're going to stop for the bottom rune, and they will find a double damage. Gets pinged out by the Venge, but looks like they're going to leave it, as TA is going to go up top, pick up the bounty rune. And I imagine they're going to leave that that double damage for maybe for TA, or maybe for them on their rotation back to the bottom lane. We'll take a look on at Yolo Swag Rico. Is he going to be playing? Yeah, he's going to be playing quite safe here. He knows what's up. He knows the rotation's been had. There was an observer down here for the Radiant side, so it obviously is going to spot the rotations towards the mid lane, but of course they don't know exactly where these heroes are. And now they're going to go for it. They're going to go for the tower dive. The Vengeful Spirit, will she get in lane? She's not going to have to. Lightning Strike Array is going to come up from PQ first, then the Magic Missile. And there we go. Our second kill of the game is going to go the way of Boreal eSports. This time it's going to go to the Vengeful Spirit. Abe making a rotation on over to try and help out the Tinker, but just not able to get there in time, as PQ will get away safely.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But once again, creating more space for this Templar Assassin in the mid lane, as Tower hating on her a little bit there, hitting her a couple times. But now she'll make the rotation down to the bottom rune and bottle up that double damage. Take a look at our other lanes. We look at this aggressive tri-lane coming out from ASDF, and it really hasn't worked out for them. KVH is the second highest farmer in the game. So he's at 14 and 7. In fact, he's pretty much tied with the other hero, the other core hero on Boreal eSports, and that's Jeppins, who's in this off lane. Mind you, it is a 1v1, but he's also sitting at 15 CS. So far, the lane's not going too well for ASDF, as well, PQ is going to make his way back down to the bottom lane. Looks like the Venge has head back up to go to the fountain, but we are going to have a wraparound here. Light Strike Array will land. Jeppins does have Snowball and Ice Shards. He both throw out the Ice Shards to get the kill there. As we've got our third kill of the game. This time, God's Hand was the victim. And Abe has rotated away from that top lane. Looks like he's been doing a little bit of farming in the jungle, a little bit of stacking as well. As Ult might actually get a kill here on the Templar Assassin, as she went pretty deep, but she did not respect the Marching of the Machines, and as a result, Yolo Swag Rico and Abe combined for the kill there. But something's got to change here for ASDF, as this Alchemist is just not getting the farm that they're going to be looking for. As they might be able to get a good amount through this stack, but now with the Vengeful Spirit rotating on up here, it's going to be able to help out KVH when this aggression comes out. And frankly, KVH didn't really take that much damage. There just isn't enough coming out from these two heroes. There's not, in the early game at least, a lot of the damage is right-click damage when you're going for a kill. And when you've got two melee heroes, you're just not going to get that much right click, as we see Jeppins and PQ combining for another kill there on God's Hand, as he was just kind of flopping around like a fish out of water there, as he really had nowhere to go. Unless he had TP support, there was no way he was living there. They did have a TP up on Abe, but I don't think Abe would have been enough to help out. It probably would have had to have been 2 TPs, and a Santa at NASA didn't have the mana to support that. And now look at the difference. This was an aggressive tri-lane, and now that aggressive tri-lane's on the run from 2 heroes. I don't even think they knew PQ was up there just yet. Of course they do now. But yeah, just running in a 2v2 situation like that when you're supposed to be on the aggressive is not how you want to start things off. Jeppins punching God's Hand with the Walrus Punch up in the air, and then God's Hand is returning the favor with the what is it called? I'm forgetting. Impale. Always trip over that because I always stop myself from calling it Impale online because it's called Earth Spike online, but it isn't called Impale on the Nyx Assassin. As you see, the acid spray going down from Yola Swag Rico as both teams fighting over this neutral camp. And looks like ASDF will be able to get a little bit of it. Never mind, PQ with the Dragon Slave will get the last hit on the majority of those creeps as Alk had to back away as he was about to stun himself. Soul Ring just getting finished now by the Tinker. But complete rune dominance has gone the way of Boreal eSports as they've really taken over map control so far. But with that Soul Ring, Yola Swag Rico will be able to farm up these 2 camps, as unfortunately I miss a kill on the bottom as Jeppins gets another one onto God's Hand, as that's the 4th kill now for Jeppins. But Yola Swag Rico will be able to farm up these 2 camps using March to the Machines. Of course, the Ancient Camp is always available to him as well. And Abe really going to kind of play that job of constantly stacking. Of course, doing a little bit of farming of the jungle himself in the downtime, as they'd really like to get some more points in that Arcane Aura. But they're really struggling here with God's Hand, as he's at 0-4 right now. And surprisingly, he has put a 2nd point into Spike Carapace here. Maybe that's to try and keep himself alive. I would have expected a point in mana burn would have been a little bit more valuable, trying to burn through some of this mana of the Tusk so that he doesn't have access to his full toolkit there. But yeah, God's Hand, look at that. He has to stand all the way back and use Impale to get last hits, as he's just kind of getting completely run over by Boreal eSports here. As Jeppins has complete dominance in the lane, and he's our 2nd highest farmer, 39-6, now 40-6 CS, whereas this Nyx Assassin's just sitting at 15-7. Our mid laner, the TA is, well, she's still out in front. Kikoni's at 49-12 right now. Yola Swag Rico has done a decent job catching back up. He's at 38-1. Oh, Jeppins making a rotation down here. Will find God's Hand, who has already been dusted out. He tries to pop the Vendetta, but that's not gonna. He's not gonna be able to get away there. Once again, Abe was there, but just not there fast enough. His rotation's just a little bit too slow. But I think even if he was there, 3, 4, 5 seconds earlier, I don't think he would have been able to help God's Hand, as unfortunately he's just
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He's really far behind, and it's gonna be very difficult for him to get back in this game. But once again, that was just another good play from PQ, as he was on top of it. And I didn't even see the Alchemist come into the bottom lane there, but as soon as he came in, apparently he was on low HP and he just got blown up. But PQ was there on point with the Dust of Appearance as soon as the Nyx Assassin made a play for that 8-minute rune. And that helped set up the kill there, making sure that it wasn't going to be able to pop that Vendetta and run away. Sitting at 1,100 gold now on Yola Swag Rico, so he's getting closer and closer to that Boots of Travel as the kills just don't slow down. KVH gets another one in the top lane as the Ogre Magi goes down this time. 8-1 now, the kill total for Boreal eSports, as they're off to a really good start to try and claim their first win so far of the league. But for ASDF, it's really going to come down to this Tinker and what he's able to do. I think him being able to buy time is probably the only saving grace. Oh my goodness, there's another kill. It's going to be the only saving grace for ASDF here, is God's Hand is way too far behind to really be able to carry his team in the mid game and try and buy as much time as possible for that Tinker and that Alchemist to come online. And frankly, the two supports haven't had a great start either, as we're going to see Abe probably go down here as well. And now Santa NASA is caught in the wrong side of things, as he's going to get hit with the Ice Shards and then the Light Strike away. And then Laguna is going to come out from PQ, as that's going to get them another kill. 11-1 now for Boreal eSports, as this one's looking a little bit one-sided.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's all going to ride on this
Radiant's
Tinker.
top
That's the
tower
only way
is
that
under
they're going to be
attack.
able to get back in this game. Of course, they could get some really good rotations, but with how far behind they are right now, it's going to be very, very difficult. As I'm going to switch on over to the hero levels, and you can just see the huge discrepancy. We've got level 4 on both the Crystal Maiden and the Ogre Magi, so they're a
Radiant's
long way
middle
from
tower
6,
is
although
under
6
attack.
isn't really that important on the Crystal Maiden. But it certainly is on the Ogre Magi. Level 5 on the Vengeful Spirit, and I think Venge is already halfway to level 6, so Swap's going to be on board. We do have the level 6 on the Nyx Assassin, almost level 7, but even the Alchemist, level 6. Then you've got the position 4 support for Boreal eSports is already level 7. So already a level higher than at least
Radiant's
4
top
heroes
tower is
on the
under
side
attack.
of ASDF. See, once again, Yola Swagrigo coming down to the bottom lane, but there's no way for them to secure any farm for him. He's not safe down here, he's not safe up top, certainly not safe in the mid lane, as that's Tinker's domain, as they have used the glyph here to defend their bottom tier 1. Jeppin's doing a little bit of a wraparound there, but not able to get the last hit on the tower. The catapult will help him out. Now he just sits in the snowball and gets a good amount of damage off, but not going to be able to bring anyone down before he goes down, as there was a 5-man rotation there coming out from ASDF. As they get 2 kills there, but they don't get the deny on the tower, as Jeppins made that nifty little play, going all the way down around and then dropping that tower. And now the TA is going to come in behind. Yola Swag Rico approaching from a good angle so that these March of the Machines won't do a ton of damage, but they are doing a good amount of damage, as Heat-Seeking Missile and Laser are both pretty potent against a TA. As the biggest problem as a TA going up against a Tinker is that when you get hit with that laser, you just miss. And you have to finish off your target with some right clicks. Well, I mean, TA, all of her damage is right clicks, but meld attack is a little bit different, I guess. But if you're missing, you're not dealing any damage at all. So the Tinker's kind of safe in that regard. KVH going on the aggressive here. Did get stunned up by the Ogre Magi, but that's not going to buy him enough time to run away, as we get another kill going the way of Boreal eSports. 12-3 now. I'm going to switch on over to the net worth, and we can see the top 2 both on the side of Boreal eSports, but more importantly, 4 out of the top 5 are all on Boreal eSports. The only one up there is Tinker. As like I said, he's the only way that they're going to get back in this game. The Alchemist, 1,000 net worth below the Lina. And we'll just take a look quickly at our gold graph here, and we can see it's almost 10,000 gold in favor of Boreal eSports, almost 7,500 XP as well. As it doesn't look like they're done. Jeppin's actually picking up the Desolator. Keep in mind, Desolator cost decreased by 600 with 6.84, so a much more affordable item. And we're seeing Jeppins pick that up there. It was always a good item on Tusk, but oh my goodness, look at the damage coming out. That level 2 Walrus Punch, so strong. And then we lose 2 more heroes in the mid lane, as God's Hand does find a kill onto the Vengeful Spirit, but then he gets cleaned up, and so does the Santa at NASA. As that actually, I was going to say, with how far behind they are, maybe it's going to help them a little bit with the gold swing. 6.83, it would have helped them considerably. 6.84, it will help them, but not as much as they need to. They need to kill a higher value target rather than the Vengeful Spirit, which is the lowest net worth on the side of Boreal eSports. In fact, lowest in the game, as we're going to have another initiation here from Jeppins, as he's going to blow up Abe. We don't even see her land on the ground. Just punches her corpse straight up to heaven. But now God's Hand and a Santa at NASA are going to look to try and get a return kill here. God's Hand will be able to catch up with the Vendetta Strike, but nice use of the Ice Shards there coming out from Jeppins. Not sure if he saw the Vendetta come out from God's Hand, or he knew that that was potentially what was going to happen there, but well-placed Ice Shards blocking off the path so that those 2 heroes weren't able to continue the chase. KVH almost done his Orchid. as he just needs the recipe there. We got the Vengeful Spirit just finishing the Medallion of Courage, probably going to look to upgrade that a little bit later as well into the Solar Crest. We have PQ, who has picked up a Soul Booster. I don't think that's going to be a Bloodstone. It's probably going to be the Octarine Core, one of the new items that reduces the cooldown. It reduces your cooldowns by 25%, and also gives you a little bit of lifesteal on your spells. Of course, we already saw Jeppins pick up the Desolator, and now we're going to see the TA and Jeppins going to work here as they're going to drop YOLO Swag Rico. As he went on the offensive there, he did get a good amount of damage in on these two heroes, but no one was there to help him out and finish off those kills. The Alchemist almost getting there in time. As, where's the TA? There she is. I missed her. As we were just going to take a look at the TA's items, and we knew that she picked up a Midas, but also gone with the Boots of Travel and a Yule's. So a little bit of a different build for a Templar Assassin, but definitely working out thus far. And I think it's going to be a pretty good item pickup considering the heroes that you're going against. Of course, Alk stun, really good to be able to Yule's the Alk so that he stuns himself if you can time that right. Also, you can Yule's yourself if you're going to be the victim of it. It's good to Yule's yourself when you're fighting in the middle of March of the Machines. It's good on... Because KVH just got blown up there. Going a little aggressive there by himself when his team's clearing up an ancient camp. But it's good against a Nyx Assassin who's trying to Vendetta in. That gets spotted up by a Sentry Ward. As Boreal eSports going to go after Roche here. As we'll quickly cycle through our heroes on the side of the Radiant, as I don't really expect many items to be coming out for them. So we got Tranquils and an Urn coming out for Abe, as he's actually doing quite well on the Crystal Maiden. Got 1,000 gold, so expect the Arcane Boots for a Santa at NASA. God's Hand has his Arcanes in 1350, so quite a ways away from getting his Blink Dagger. We do have a Blink Dagger and the Boots of Travel up for Tinker, as well as his Soul Ring. And Kikoni just TP'd up to the top lane. He was the one to pick up that Aegis, but his team's on the aggressive as KVH has respawned. He's running around real fast with the haste as they look for God's Hand, but he hops into the Vendetta. Now KVH has run into them again as he's going to go down. KVH
is dead.
Throwing a little bit here, but I think his team's quite a bit ahead. That a kill here or there isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. As I kept calling him YOLO Swag Rico the Tinker, but I know it's Eleanor. Of course, the Alchemist is going to be our YOLO Swag Rico. But he makes his way up to the top, just preventing any kind of push. But now Santa Nas is in trouble as Kikoni's on the offensive here, and there's that value that Yules. You can't just TP away from a TA, as she's just going to toss you up in the air, and that secures the kill for the Templar Assassin. The Vengeful Spirit was getting close, but not going to be close enough to get in range. She was about here when the TP was going to be going off. Bunch of pings coming out from KVH as he wants to go up to the top lane and push that. As maybe they're going to be potentially setting up a kill on the Tinker, as he's most likely going to go and defend the creep wave as it gets to the tier 2 tower there. Or maybe he's just saying, let's do a little split pushing. You guys put the pressure on the mid, I'll put the pressure on top. But now we're going to have Jeppins TP to the bottom lane. He is invis, as maybe he was hoping that the Alchemist would keep pushing a little bit farther there. As, oh no, he might come out of the jungle here. Have they spotted each other? No, Jeppins actually hasn't seen him. And now we're going to have YOLO Swag Rico actually TP back to the mid lane. And ASDF's going to try to go on the offensive here, but it's really difficult for them to push out away from the tower. And frankly, when you're this far behind, you have to think about objectives. Why are you fighting? You're fighting because you're trying to defend this tier 2 tower. So if you're going to push out into a disadvantaged situation, you need to make sure that you're doing it for a good reason. As God's Hand almost finding a kill there on PQ. In fact, Abe will be able to finish him off. As now Boreal is actually in a little bit of trouble here, as Jeppins is going to get stunned up. Doesn't have a Shadow Blade. He has gone for the Blink. And we're going to lose a Vengeful Spirit as well, as Boreal eSports just gives away 3 kills there. As ASDF will accept it with open arms. As they need all that they can get right now. As wow, that was a big gold swing. 2,900 gold going their way. As we'll quickly take a look at our net worth and see what it's done. Still 12,000. gold lead for Boreal eSports. As maybe they've stopped the bleeding a little bit, but Boreal's still quite a bit ahead in this one. And XP also at the 12,000 XP mark. As we take a look at our farming alchemist, what has he been able to do? He's gone with the armlet, which is kind of an old school alchemist build. As I've seen people experimenting with certainly different builds and not going with an armlet anymore, but he's kind of going with that more traditional build. He's also got a hand of Midas. Only 1 point in the acid spray, so he's going to unfortunately be a little bit slow at farming up, or at least killing things as a result of that. But he does have the 4 points in Grieval's Greed. So that means he's going to be getting more gold as long as he keeps killing things. And now some aggressive warding coming out from Boreal, as they are smoked up here. And there is an observer ward in the Radiant jungle, so they are going to feel relatively safe. There's, of course, this one that led to the last team fight, as KVH is going to get caught out once again. Jeppins comes snowballing in. He will get the stun off, but not able to save KVH. But here come everyone else on the side of Boreal. As God's Hand going to be the first to go down. Sonic Wave and Walrus Punch will quickly dispose of the Ogre Magi. And now there's that Yule Scepter getting put to work again, as the Tinker's going to get dropped. And just like that, we lose 3 heroes on the side of Team ASDF. As Boreal will look to take this mid-tier too.
Middle tower is under attack.
As I believe they still have the Aegis on the TA. And Jeppins has gone on the offensive here. KVH going to try to help his ally, and the Shadow Strike is enough to keep the Alchemist slowed down, as KVH is going to be able to finish him off. We just have the Crystal Maiden left alive for ASDF, but we do have respawns. Ogre respawning now, 5 seconds more until we'll have the Nyx Assassin, but the tier 2 is down. Question is, will Boreal eSports look to stay and hang around? No, we're going to have the TA TPing away. As she's actually jumping to the bottom lane. Jeppins.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Sitting a little low on HP here, but he'll be okay. No one's going to be able to chase and catch up. Yeah, as was just pointed out in chat by Dota Tom, there's a lot of minus armor on the side of Boreal eSports. As you take a look, you got the Vengeful Spirit, of course. You've got the Medallion of Courage and the Wave of Terror. Wave of Terror, that's -6. Medallion's -6 as well. -7 actually. Excuse me. God's Hand gonna get stunned up there. Does get the Spike Carapace off in time, so we'll be able to stun up the Venge, but Jeppin's there to clean up the kill before the Venge takes a fall. Santa Nasa tries to TP away, but Snowball will stop him. As, well, everyone on the side of Boreal is just kind of snowballing out of control right now, but we go back to a little bit more of that minus armor. Of course, the Desolator is going to be -7. Meld from TA also provides us with some minus armor, as that's going to be -8 at max rank. That is a lot of minus armor coming out from the side of Boreal eSports, and that's going to allow them to take down pretty much any target they want. Alchemist, although he's only sitting at 8 armor right now, typically, because he can farm so fast, he's able to get his armor count up pretty high. But Ogre's pretty high as well, 9. Even Nyx Assassin sitting at 6 naturally without anything buffing that. We've got Crystal Maiden. Abe! Wow, he's even managed to pull out a Glimmer Cape, but he's sitting at 8 armor, and the Tinker's sitting at 6. But I'm actually really impressed with the amount of farm that Abe has managed to get here on this Crystal Maiden. 25 CS, sitting at 2, 2, and 6. So despite the fact that the score is 10 to 26, the support, the position 5 Crystal Maiden is just sitting at 2, 2, and 6. So doing a good job positioning himself in these fights, making sure that he doesn't get picked off all that much, and also doing a good job of managing that reliable gold, although he's sitting at 0 right now. But to make sure that he's able to continue with that item progression. As Glimmer Cape, one of the new items, will give him attack speed and spell resist. It was nerfed in 6.84b, a patch that just recently came out, and that reduced the spell resistance that you give to the target when you give them the Glimmer from 66% down to 55%, but it's still a very, very potent item, and I think it's one that we're going to see quite a bit to come. God's Hand has finished his Blink Dagger. As we'll quickly cycle through, we got a Sange picked up by the Alchemist, and we got a quick pause here. But Asana at NASA looks like he's going to be going after his Agnum Scepter. He's about halfway to finish completing that. And our last one's going to be the Tinker, who he's picked up a Yule Scepter since we last checked in, but still not enough to really get crazy on that hero. Is his next item going to be Dagon, or are they just going to go for sheep? Oh, that'll remain to be seen. Asking a little bit about how much pause time, as I believe that was a question asked a little bit earlier, as I don't think it was answered, but either way, it's getting answered now. They've got like 4 minutes, as I'm not sure if that was a result of maybe them just being a little bit late to start, as typically there aren't any penalties implied until 15 minutes past the scheduled start time. I'm actually not 100% sure what the regular pause times are, as I'm guessing that's what's in place right now. But Kikoni now has also picked up an Assault Curious. More minus armor coming out from Boreal eSports, but also has an S and Y as well. KVH looks like he's going for his Agnum Scepter, 700 gold away from completing that. We did get a Bloodstone, so not the Octarine Core from PQ, but he's also added on a Dagon, as I miss another kill. But God's Hand now is going to jump onto PQ here, stun him up. Ooh, he does get Orchided up by KVH, but no one was able to get any damage in, so God's Hand was just able to blink away. But now in the bottom lane, KVH will blink on in to the base, as Jeppins was already kind of engaging, but disengaging and then re-engaging, as now he'll get swapped back. We will have the Templar Assassin tossed up in the air. Vengeful Spirit on very, very low life, but no one's going to be able to finish her off, as the Laguna comes out from PQ, finishing off the Nyx Assassin, and now they're in pursuit of the Tinker, who will be able to blink away there, as that was his Yule Scepter. I thought that was the one coming up from the TA, but of course TA used it on herself. Of course, the Yule Scepter does apply 50 damage when you land, so to prevent things like Blink Dagger escapes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
we do have 4 heroes still left alive on Boreal, although some of them on pretty low HP. They will be able to push and at least drop this tier 3 tower. Will they be able to get the melee racks before these 2 heroes and now 3 heroes, as we have the Ogre Magi respawn? Whether or not they'll be able to defend. And oh, KVH's TP was almost finished. He'll get Yulesed, but he will be able to blink away now. Will they be able to catch up? As they've got Rearm, they've got Blink, but not really too much mana on Eleanor on this Tinker. Will try to find Venge, sees him, but the Venge will get the TP off in time. KVH still kind of lingering around, but is able to continue blinking. Will God's Hand be able to catch on up? As maybe he saw KVH pass into the Roche pit there, but oh, not able to open up. KVH blinks up past, over top of Roche, and will be able to escape, as he'll drop all the way back to Fountain, where he'll complete his Agnum Scepter. PQ has upgraded his Dagon to a level 2, as Kikoni is going to get caught out here. But will they have enough to bring him down? He's just going to drop into Meld, and now he's going to get a right click off, but not enough. As Abe actually the one to get the kill there, and now the Laguna is going to come out from PQ, dropping Abe quite low, but Abe just jumps into that Glimmer Cape. And that means that he's invis, and they're not going to be able to finish him off. PQ will actually suicide there with the Bloodstone. Jeppins comes rolling on in. The Venge running for a dear life. It seems like it's happened so many times this game, as she's sitting below 60 HP. Yola Swagrika won't be able to secure that kill, as the Venge gets away by the skin of her teeth. Jeppins not letting the Ogre get away, though. As now, oh, he will get stunned up. No, he won't. Using the fog to his advantage there, the Alk stuns himself. And Jeppins will turn around with the help of KVH, getting a kill on not just the Alchemist, but also the Nyx Assassin. And we did have the Vengeful Spirit eventually go down, as Eleanor was able to catch up onto the Tinker. Not sure how. Maybe TPs to the mid lane, and then eventually caught up. But it will be 1 hero left alive for the side of ASDF. The fight recap not really helping us out there. But Boreal eSports, they're out for blood, and they're getting kills. And we're sitting at 48 kills in 28 minutes right now. That's a lot of kills. That is a lot of kills. Well, let's take a look at our net worth, see if it's changed at all. Not really. Still going very much in favor of Boreal, as it's past 20k. XP nearing 25k. As Jeppin says, you know what? Maybe Shadowblade was a good item choice, as he's going to pick up that and immediately upgrade it to a Silver Edge. As I believe Silver Edge was changed in that 6.84 patch, 6.84B patch. I just don't remember exactly what it was. don't know. I don't know. The enemy damage output 40% still the same. That's the big thing on that item. But I'll have to look at that a little bit closer. The bonus attack damage all still the same. But either way, Roche will go down, and eventually Kikoni will make his way into the Roche pit and pick up that Aegis. As Kikoni sitting at, well, he's pretty much 6 slotted right now. Of course, he's going to be able to pick up an item to fill that slot of the Aegis, and then of course sell his Hand of Midas. But he's sitting at 516 move speed. God, he's fast. Practically hasted. 522, of course, max move speed, which haste gives you. But now you have to think that Boreal is going to be looking to push up onto the high ground. Of course, they did drop that tier 3, so these bottom racks are exposed. Mid, tier 3 took a little bit of a beating. Top hasn't been touched yet. The God's Hand has popped the Vendetta. He's out looking for blood, but no one on the side of Boreal is even close, as they're all staying on their side of the map for the most part. They'll find a double damage. Ooh, he may actually find KVH, as KVH just blinks over the cliff and goes in the aggressive, and God's Hand's on the dire side of the map all by himself, as Boreal is on the offensive once again. Santa and NASA was popped into the Glimmer coming out from Abe. Good play there to try and keep his teammate alive, but the magic of resist wasn't enough to keep him alive from a sonic wave, as that does way too much damage. And with the Aghanim Scepter, it's also going to do pure damage. That pierces spell immunity. Now we're going to have that Midas sold by the Templar Assassin. She's going to pick up a Butterfly, as this could very well be our last fight of the game, as maybe KVH is overextended here. He's lost quite a bit of his HP. Kikoni can, of course, be the one to overextend, as he's got the Aegis. He's going to drop into his Melody. He is getting right-clicked by God's Hand. He was actually frozen, so he wasn't even able to move. But he will be able to drop that Nyx before he goes down and eventually respawns with the Aegis. Jeppins claims a kill on the Crystal Maiden, but he goes down. Venge getting off the stun onto the Alchemist, trading stuns there. And Kikoni tries to get the kill onto the Alch, but not able to do so. We do have a buyback from Abe, as it looks like ASDF is somewhat able to defend this. It's hard to tell right now. We have already lost the set of racks, but now, just as I say that, we lose 3 heroes on the side of ASDF, or at least 2 heroes, as it's just the Crystal Maiden and the Tinker left to defend here. We do have 4 heroes on the side of Boreal eSports still left pushing, but KVH on very low HP, Kikoni down at half HP, and with this buyback from the Alchemist, it looks like they may be able to get the kill onto the TA. Aegis was already used. They're going to toss Jeppins up in the air, as he's going to immediately hop into the Snowball. As who is his target? It's going to be onto the Alchemist, but will he be able to get away? Don't think so. They're able to drop God's Hand with PQ on the low ground. Well, looks like PQ is going to go down as well. Not able to suicide before he goes down there. He's down at 7 blood charges right now. Still level 2 Dagon, but he's sitting on 3,600 gold. Ooh. As ASDF is kind of catching up a little bit here. 19 to 40 is the kills. I imagine the gold graph's going to be coming up a little bit in their favor. Maybe it needs time to adjust, or maybe not, as I guess the buybacks playing a little bit of a part there, but apparently the kills were not worth as much as I was expecting them to be. As they have a little bit of breathing room here, but this is not a position that you want to be in. They do almost have the Aghanim Scepter coming up from the Ogre Magi. That's going to be a pretty big pickup for them. 300 gold away from completing that. Abe, of course, he's pretty much finished any items that he needs, but he's sitting on 2,500 gold. And keep in mind, he bought back in the last fight. How does this Crystal Maiden have so much gold? 5, 5, and 10 right now. Still 40 CS. Impressive play coming out from Abe, despite the fact that his team's losing. Yellow Swag Rico has picked up an SNY, sitting at 2,400 gold. It's still a long ways before that Alch is really going to come online, turn into the blender we all know and love. God's Hand, still no item progression since picking up his Blink Dagger. And looks like we're going to have an Ogre Club getting picked up by Kikoni. Probably going to be going after a BKB as his next. KVH has picked up a Soul Booster. So is that a Bloodstone? Is that an Octarine Core? I think both would be quite valuable. As oh, it just passes the Courier. As that's going to be it. And actually, that's a point booster for the Alchemist. Is he going for an Aghanims? Already? Who would they even give Aghanims to on their team that would be valuable? Of course, he can give it to himself. I'm not sure, because the Ogre's already going to have his. You could give it to Crystal Maiden. That's really not going to be that valuable. There is no egg upgrade. Is it? Oh yeah, there is now. Because he can hop into the... He can burrow. I forgot about that for the Nyx Assassin. But we may not see that come online. Because Boreal is knocking at the doorstep here. As they're potentially thinking of pushing to the mid lane. But they do still have PQ in the bottom lane. The Vengeful Spirit has rotated to the mid now though. So they do have... I was going to say 4 heroes, but Kikoni just rotated to the top lane. So 3 heroes in the mid lane, 1 in the bottom, 1 in the top. So Kikoni is going to get initiated on here. Abe using the Glimmer Cape to get in range to initiate on that Templar Assassin. They are able to get the kill. However, it costs them Eleanor, and Eleanor will just buy back into the game. As, oh my goodness, a freezing field coming up from Abe. They will be able to get the kill on the Venge and the Jeppins. KVH now is going to get CC'd up, and he's going to go down thanks to the sheep stick coming out from Eleanor. My goodness, we have 4 heroes going down on the side of Boreal. That's a big gold exchange. As that's 63, almost 6,400 gold going the way of ASDF. As Boreal struggles to end the game. Which is quite surprising because they've been completely running over their opponents thus far. But it was the Octarine Core getting finished by KVH. We also had the Vengeful Spirit pick up the Solar Crest. That was a while ago though. And oh, it's going to be a Silver Edge recipe getting purchased by the TA. So Kikoni's going to be going for Silver Edge, not for a BKB. And of course, Jeppins has had his Silver Edge for a while.
Tower is under attack.
The Alchemist blendering it up.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Plate Mail is going to get purchased by God's Hand. What happened to that point boost? I'm not sure. Either way, they're going to find a Vengeful Spirit. Because that's going to be another kill for ASDF. Don't call it a comeback, but... Uh-oh. Boreal needs to tighten up their play a little bit here. Because the Tinker's definitely online, or at least still coming online, but looking pretty good thus far. Once that sheep stick got completed, it's pretty strong for the Tinker. Still a little vulnerable though. Abe has picked up a 4-staff with all that gold that he's got, and now he's at 2,200 gold again, and now they're going to find a kill on Kikoni. As he's going to drop into Meld, and Alex actually going to stun himself. They unfortunately don't have any way of revealing here. Oh, they will still be able to get the kill onto the Templar Assassin, and Abe's going to get that, so more gold in the Crystal Maiden's pocket. Purse, I guess. Purse. Women don't have wallets, they've got purses. I guess they have wallets in their purses. Either way, I said pocket, not wallet. It's a disaster. Well, we got 3,200 gold now on the Tinker. He's getting closer and closer to his next item pickup. I'm not sure what that is. Is it going to be a Dagon? Is it going to be an Ethereal Blade? I don't know. On one hand, when you think about it, the Ghost Scepter would be good against all that minus armor, all that physical damage that comes out from the side of Boreal eSports. But then you still have to consider there's a Lena on the other team. There's a Queen of Pain on the other team. That's a lot of magic damage. That's going to completely blow you up if you go into Ghost Scepter. That'll be interesting to see what Eleanor chooses to go with on the Tinker this time around. Looks like ASDF's on the hunt. They thought maybe Roche. Roche not up yet. Of course it could be. Well, the teams don't have the luxury of knowing that Roche will be up in about 45. As we do have that Aghanim Scepter finished by the Ogre Magi. Lotus Orb's going to be the choice for God's Hand.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Vlad's even gets picked up by the Ogre Magi here. Well, what happened to that Aghanim's? Okay, there it is. It was given to the Nyx Assassin, so God's Hand has an Aghanim's as well. As, well... Now you can see that he's got an extra ability. I'm not sure how I just missed that when he picked up the Lotus Orb, unless it was just given to him. But either way, he can now drop into his burrow and turn into a lurker a la StarCraft, the original StarCraft, StarCraft 1. That will be interesting to see, but Roche has respawned, and looks like Boreal is going to get that. Aegis once again going to go on to Kikoni, and now who's going to pick up the cheese? Who did pick up the cheese? I thought it was the Vengeful Spirit that just picked it up. But it's KVH who's going to be the one holding on to it. Kikoni actually denied the top tier 1 tower. That was actually the second tower of the game that's been claimed by ASDF, and that was frankly, it was just them pushing the creeps and making them push in their favor, and the creeps finishing the job. But it's only been the mid tier 1 and the top tier 1 that have gone down for them, as of course the bottom tier 1, the mid tier 2 took a little bit of a beating, but top tier 2 is of course fresh. As well, it's been very, very difficult for them to push out of their base thus far, as you have to say all the map control has gone the way of Boreal eSports. As I want to say it was a little bit tighter than this, but right now I'd say map control is probably somewhere around this. Actually, maybe even bring this in further in favor of Boreal. Of course, Boreal being everything on this side. I was just pointed out in chat that what are you talking about? There's no Aghanims on the Tinker. But of course he can give, I believe he can give Aghanims to heroes that don't have Aghanims upgrade. Like, you can always purchase an Aghanims on a hero that doesn't have an Aghanims upgrade. So you can just give it to him for the stats. That's always a possibility. Jeppins is holding on to a gem. I'm actually just going to quickly bring up the item tab here so we can quickly cycle over them, as we've had a lot of items getting picked up this game. It's going to be Shiva's Guard is going to be what Eleanor is going to go for on the Tinker. Lotus Orb also getting picked up by PQ for Boreal eSports. Now Smoke's going to come out here as they try to make a move on top, but not going to be able to find them. Let's look at this Observer Ward getting placed here by the Radiant. That's going to help protect the Tinkers. We got an engage in the mid lane as Santa NASA and Yola Swag Rico get blown up to start everything off. We do have an immediate buyback from the Alchemist as he's going to look to rejoin the fray, but he's going to run right into a Light Strike Array and a Laguna, as he's just going to have to run right back to the fountain to get his HP back up. He will throw a stun off before he does so. As actually with his regen, it looks like he's just going to stick around and fight. He's going to choose to go after KVH as his first target. Chop, 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 chop. Not able to bring KVH down before he's able to blink away, but God's Hand blinks after him and is able to finish him off. Now they look to get a kill onto PQ as he jukes and he jives, but not able to dodge everything else that's coming out. But the Lotus Orb reflecting that stun right back to the Alchemist, but not enough to keep the Lina alive. Now Kikoni and Eleanor going at it in a little bit of a fight, while Jeppins, God's Hand, and Ape go at it as well. As will God's Hand be able to get away? It looks like he will. We did have the Aegis respawn coming up from Kikoni. Will Jeppins be able to get away? Doesn't look like it. He's going to drop the gem, and there it goes, as Kikoni's now fighting Eleanor. As Eleanor tosses himself up in the air with his Yule Scepter, and now Kikoni realizes, maybe I should get out of here. This is a little bit risky.
Radiant's middle tower is
And it
under
looks
attack.
like he's sold his Silver Edge, as he doesn't have it anymore. He's got a BKB instead. As now he's going to try to get away. No blink, no Silver Edge. This is going to be a difficult one to escape from, as it looks like he's going to go down. But the creeps have done so much damage in the base while all this is going on. And he still isn't down. Al going to stun himself, but standing directly on top of that Templar Assassin to making sure that she gets stunned up as well. Then we're going to get a stun coming out from God's Hand as he's down underground in that burrow. But we did We had already lost our bottom set of racks. We just lost our mid set of racks and even our top set of racks. So it is Mega Creeps going to be pushing against the side of ASDF. As it was difficult for them before, it's certainly going to be even more difficult now. As they've come back a little bit, but 20k deficit is absolutely gigantic in a game of Dota 2. XP is actually getting closer to 0. 10,000 now in favor of Boreal. But looks like Boreal is in a pretty prime position to walk away with a win here in our first game of this best of 2. KVH trying to get a kill onto Yellow Swag Rico, but not able to do so. It did cost him a BKB charge to make sure that he didn't get picked off there.
Middle tower is under attack.
He sheeped up PQ. God's Hand on the hunt. KVH blinks in and once again gets stunned up. He's been playing so aggressive and he's been punished nearly every single time for it. Good plays coming out there from ASDF, but doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Eleanor is really low on HP. We will have the Laguna fly out, and that'll get them the kill on the Alchemist. But they did just lose the TA, and it's just the Huskar, or Tusk. There we go. Who is a Tuskar? And the Vengeful Spirit left alive for Boreal eSports. They'll back away, regroup, and we'll try to push one more time. It's now 33 to 44, the kill total. It's getting closer and closer. I still don't see it. I don't see it as a possibility for them to come back, but they're hanging in here. They're definitely not calling it quits yet. They're going to play until the throne goes down, and they have all the right to do so as Abe, I keep calling him Gabe. Abe picks up another item, and this time it's going to be a Veil of Discord. He also has a BKB, which he's used one charge of so far. Shivas was finished by the Tinker. Ogre, nothing new since he picked up the Vlads. The Alk has picked up a plate mail, but that's really not all that significant. And of course, we saw the Lotus Orb getting picked up by God's Hand. We quickly cycle through the heroes on the Dire side. PQ has upgraded his Dagon to a Dagon 4. And he's just sitting on 4 Bloodstone charges right now. KVH, I don't think anything's new there. Maybe the Boots of Travel are new? I don't recall, but either way, the Octarine Core was picked up a little while ago. He's sitting on an 8-second BKB. Vengeful Spirit has picked up a Glimmer Cape as well. TA is also gone with a Mask of Madness. And the Tusk, what has he got? He's got another gem, but besides that, a Lotus Orb was the other new item. This looks like it's going to be at Boreal just tightening the grasp on their opponent here as they get closer and closer to that core. As the creeps are now pushing in, we do have a Battle Fury getting purchased by the Alchemist. That'll help clear with the creeps, but I don't think it's a hero or it's an item that's going to help them win these team fights. As it's good to be able to defend, but you've got to be able to defend off the heroes as well, as they've just got the one tier 4 alive. It looks like it's going to go down as here we go. The fight is starting. Jeppins is going to take a fall early on. We did just lose Abe though, as he doesn't have buyback, so he's gone for 90. We're going to lose the Ogre Magi as well. No buyback available for him. They're going to quickly switch over to the buyback in the top left if you want to take a look at that. We've got the Tusk going down, no buyback. Alk going down. This one's pretty much over. GG is going to get called, as there's no way that ASDF was going to be able to defend that. As Boreal eSports will take our first game of the night. But we do have one more between these two teams, so we'll switch sides, or at least we have the opportunity to switch sides. It's up to the teams, the captains. But we will have another game coming up probably within the next 5 minutes or so. I'm going to quickly take a sip of water to rest my voice a little bit, as there was a lot of kills to call that game. 48 minutes, and we had, I think, over 80 kills. It's 2 kills, almost 2 kills a minute. It was a pretty incredible pace coming out there from Boreal eSports and ASDF. But we do have one more game in store for you guys tonight between these two teams. So That should be exciting. But like I said, I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Just a reminder, this is the Saturday Dota League. You can check out more about it at the Saturday Dota League or SaturdayDotaLeague.com. Also follow them on Twitter at SaturdayDota. And you can also check out the in-game ticket, which is completely free, so you can watch the replays. You can watch these games live in the Dota TV client if you choose to. It's all available to you. Just go in, look under Amateur and North America, and it should be there. I've got the logo on my stream and everything. You guys know what it looks like, so you should be able to find it. But I'm going to take that much-needed break, and we'll be back in just under 5 minutes.